Okay, let's talk about AI. For years, if you said AI hardware, you were really just saying one word: Nvidia. But what happens when a total underdog, a real dark horse, steps into the ring with a massive war chest and a secret weapon? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today: Amazon's absolutely audacious plan to take on the champ with its very own AI chip.
So, where does this story even begin? It starts with a deal. A massive $50 billion deal between Amazon's cloud division, AWS, and the AI giant OpenAI. A deal that, frankly, made everyone's head spin. But that huge number, that's not even the most interesting part. The real story, the one that tells you everything you need to know, is hiding in the details. And here's that detail: 2 gigawatts. That is a staggering amount of computing power that Amazon has promised to OpenAI. We're talking enough juice to power a small city. But here's the kicker, the real twist. All of that power, every last bit of it, is going to be running on Amazon's own custom-built AI chip, Trinium. Now, let's just stop and think about that for a second. This is OpenAI we're talking about, a company that is so deeply connected to Microsoft, a company whose entire existence was basically built on top of Nvidia hardware, and now they're making this enormous bet on a competitor's chip. The big question is, why? Why would they do that? And the answer? Well, it's all about our underdog in this fight, a chip called Tranium. And this thing isn't just a random piece of silicone. Oh no, it is straight out of the classic Amazon playbook, a strategy they have absolutely perfected over the years.
You've seen them do it before, right? This is Amazon's MO. They see what their customers are desperate for, they see the sky-high prices and the scarcity, and they just decide to build their own. They looked at the insane demand for AI chips and said, you know what? We can do this ourselves, and we can do it cheaper.
And that really sets the stage for this standoff. On one side, you've got Nvidia. They're the gold standard, no question. But they're expensive and good luck even getting your hands on them. And then, stepping into the ring, is Tranium, the challenger. It offers comparable performance, but, and this is huge, it can be up to 50% cheaper to run because it's built from the ground up for the AWS cloud.
What's really cool is how Tranium has evolved. See, it started out as a chip for training these massive AI models, which is super computer intensive. But now it's been fine-tuned for inference. That's the part where the AI actually uses its training to give you an answer. That's the biggest bottleneck for everyone in AI right now. And Tranium is already handling most of the traffic for Amazon's own AI service, Bedrock. In fact, they literally can't make these chips fast enough to keep up.
So, how in the world does a chip like this go from an idea to an AI powerhouse? To find out, we get a peek inside a super secret lab down in Austin, Texas. And let me tell you, it's a place where pizza, late nights, and even power tools are all part of the process. You know, the team there lives for this one critical moment. It's called the Silicon Bring Up. This is after a year and a half of pure design work. It's the first time they ever get to flip the switch and see if the thing actually works. The lab director calls it a lock-in, this crazy, intense, all-night-long party to see if their baby comes to life. And get this, the story of Tranium 3 is just wild. The prototype shows up, and the team hits a brick wall. The heatsink, a totally critical part, doesn't fit. Disaster, right? The whole project is about to go up in smoke. So what do? They sneak a power grinder into a conference room and physically grind the metal part down themselves. It's a huge risk, but it worked. The chip powered on. They saved the entire project. And that kind of scrappy dedication, it's not a one-off. This whole thing has been in the works for over a decade. It actually started way back in 2015 when Amazon quietly bought this small Israeli chip design company. So all these massive deals and data centers we're seeing now, they're the result of a very, very long game. Okay, so what is Amazon's secret sauce here? How are they really competing with Nvidia? Well, their playbook is about way more than just a piece of silicon. It's a full-on strategy where they control literally everything. Seriously, Amazon designs the whole shebang. They've got the chips, sure, but they also have custom networking hardware so thousands of these chips can talk to each other super fast. They design their own liquid cooling, the servers, all of it. And when you control everything, you can tweak the entire system for one goal: to squeeze out every last drop of performance for the lowest possible cost. But look, hardware is only half the story. Nvidia's real advantage, its secret weapon, has always been its software, CUDA. For years, if you were a developer, you were just stuck. Switching away from Nvidia meant rewriting tons of code, a total nightmare. Amazon's solution to this, though, is honestly brilliant in its simplicity. Here's the key. They fully support PyTorch, which is this super popular open source framework that tons of developers already use. And because of that, a developer can take an AI model that was built for NVIDIA, change literally a single line of code, recompile it, and boom, it runs on Trainium. Just like that. They just erased the biggest reason not to switch. So, the big question remains, is all this hard work, this grand strategy, actually working? Well, the verdict seems to be in, and the answer is a huge, resounding yes. Just look at who is lining up to use Trainium.
First step, Anthropic. You know, the company behind the Claude AI model. They were one of the first big believers, and they went all in. They're running their models on a giant cluster that has over 1 million Trainium 2 chips. I mean, that is an incredible vote of confidence.
And that brings us full circle, right back to OpenAI. They're not just kicking the tires, they are betting a huge part of their future on Trainium to power their next big thing, an AI agent builder. It's a massive signal that they see Amazon's chip as absolutely critical to where they're headed. And then there's this. And it might be the most telling sign of all. The notoriously secretive, quiet as a mouse Apple went public. They actually gave a shout out to the AWS chip team, praising their work on Trainium. I mean, come on. When Apple breaks their silence just to compliment you, you know you've hit a home run.
And you can bet this story is not over. Not by a long shot. Back in that lab in Austin, the team is already deep into designing the next generation Trainium 4. The race is on, and it feels like Amazon is really just warming up.
So all of this leaves us with one final huge question. For what feels like forever, Nvidia has had this iron grip on the AI world, a one-chip monopoly. But now, with a challenger like Amazon stepping up in such a serious way, are we finally seeing the beginning of the end for that monopoly? And